When I entered without warning, the alien queen was caught off guard. Her surprise spoke volumes. The sky above shimmered with strange colors, reflecting the planet's twin suns. Despite the beauty, there was a deep sense of danger here. Every sensor in Aaron's suit screamed that the alien queen's domain was alive, aware, and ready to defend itself against intruders. Aaron adjusted the straps on his pack and ran a final scan of the area. The fortress was massive, far larger than any human had imagined. Its towers twisted upward like the claws of a predator, while streams of faint blue energy pulsed along the walls. These were not mere decorations. They were part of the alien defenses, some psychic or technological combination that the humans had yet to understand fully. He took a deep breath. "All right," he whispered to himself. "No alarms, no mistakes, just me and my mind." Aaron had chosen to go alone. His team had begged him to wait for reinforcements, to use drones and robots, even to bring weapons. But Aaron knew that the moment the Queen sensed a large intrusion, the entire fortress would seal itself, and countless lives could be lost. Humanity had faced many unknowns in space, but this mission required subtlety, courage, and the one trait humans excelled at: ingenuity. The descent to the fortress was treacherous. Jagged rocks jutted from the cliffs like the teeth of some ancient beast. Aaron carefully leaped from ledge to ledge, relying on the magnetic grips of his boots to hold him against the almost vertical face. At one point, he glanced down and realized just how far he had fallen. A misstep could mean the end. But he pressed on, guided by purpose and the quiet confidence that had earned him a reputation as one of the best human explorers in the sector. Hours passed as he navigated the fortress's outer walls. Unlike previous missions, Aaron avoided the main gates. They were heavily monitored, and he could see the faint shimmer of energy barriers even from a distance. Instead, he used a small, portable climbing drone he had modified himself. The drone projected a temporary holographic duplicate of his figure to distract the motion sensors, while Aaron slipped through narrow crevices in the cliff. It was a risky maneuver, but the humans had long relied on thinking outside the box, and this was the essence of human survival. Finally, he reached a narrow entrance that seemed almost ordinary, like a simple cave carved into the fortress's foundation. But Aaron knew better. Every rock, every shadow was part of a system designed to test intruders. The entrance exhaled a soft, rhythmic pulse, like the fortress itself was alive. He paused, placing a hand against the wall. There was a faint warmth beneath his fingers, as if the stone were aware of his presence. Aaron smiled faintly. Humans had a saying, "The darkest places reveal the brightest minds." He hoped it would hold true today. Inside, the corridor twisted and turned, far longer than it seemed from the outside. Strange glyphs glowed softly along the walls, changing patterns as he walked past. They were mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, designed to disorient anyone unfamiliar with their meaning. But Aaron had studied these patterns in simulation for months. He moved slowly, letting his eyes track the symbols, avoiding the subtle triggers that could send alarms across the fortress. Then came the first real test. A thin, almost invisible energy grid stretched across the corridor. One wrong move would alert the Queen's sensors. Aaron paused, recalling a training drill he had run on Earth for human cadets. He mirrored the movements in his mind, tracing invisible paths between the beams, timing each step with the rhythm of his own heartbeat. With careful precision, he slipped through the grid, his body tense but controlled. At the end of the corridor, a large chamber opened up. Faint, soft light glowed from the ceiling, illuminating alien statues that seemed to watch him. Their eyes, carved from an unknown crystal, reflected his own image back at him. Aaron felt a strange chill, not from fear, but from the realization that he was entering the heart of an intelligence far older and more advanced than anything humans had encountered. He crouched, moving closer to the center of the chamber. There, etched into the floor, was a circular pattern that seemed to hum with energy. Aaron recognized it from intelligence reports. It was a psychic anchor, a device that allowed the queen to sense even the smallest movements within the fortress. His heart skipped a beat, but he forced himself to breathe slowly. Focus on the mind, not the fear, he reminded himself. Using a small handheld device, Aaron projected a low-frequency field to mask his presence. The hum of the anchor faded slightly, enough for him to slip past without triggering an alarm. Every step now felt like walking across a tightrope suspended over a chasm. One wrong move, one miscalculated breath, and the queen would know he was here. Finally, he reached the inner sanctum doors. They were massive, made from a material that seemed both metallic and organic. The surface rippled faintly, like water disturbed by a pebble, reacting to his proximity. Aaron paused again, placing a hand lightly on the doors. He could feel the psychic energy radiating from within. The queen was near. He could almost sense her mind probing, curious, alert. Aaron whispered under his breath, "Here goes nothing." With a small device, he bypassed the outer locks. The doors slid open silently, revealing the inner chamber bathed in soft violet light. At the center, seated on an elevated platform, was the alien queen. She was unlike anything he had imagined. Tall, elegant, with features that combined grace and intimidation. Her skin shimmered subtly, reflecting the light, and her eyes, large and luminous, were fixed directly on him. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The queen's gaze was not hostile, but it was full of intelligence, curiosity, and surprise. Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine. He had entered without warning, relying on human daring and ingenuity, and the queen had been caught off guard. "Who dares enter my sanctuary?" her voice echoed, not in sound but in thought, reaching directly into his mind. Aaron felt the weight of her intelligence pressing against his own consciousness, and yet he did not falter. Humans were known for their stubborn courage, and Aaron was determined to show that their species was more than mere flesh and bone. "I am Captain Aaron Vale," he said calmly, projecting confidence with every word. "I come in peace. I wish only to understand and perhaps to share knowledge." The queen studied him, tilting her head slightly. There was a flicker of surprise in her expression, almost amusement. She had faced countless species, each more aggressive or deceitful than the last. Yet here was a human, standing alone, unarmed and unafraid. Aaron felt a spark of hope. This was more than just survival. It was a chance to prove the human spirit, brave, curious, adaptable, and endlessly resourceful. The queen's voice, or rather her psychic communication, flowed into his mind again. "You are different. Not many dare approach without warning." "Tell me why." Aaron took a deep breath. "Because humans are curious. Because humans do not back down from understanding what they do not yet know. And because sometimes one person is enough to make a difference." For a moment, the room was silent. The hum of the psychic anchor seemed to pause, as if the fortress itself was listening. Then, slowly, the queen's eyes widened slightly, not in fear but in realization. She had underestimated this human. And that mistake, small as it might seem, spoke volumes about her own assumptions. Aaron did not lower his guard, but he did not advance either. This was the first moment of true connection between two intelligent species, one of them human, the other alien. In that silence, a story began that neither could yet fully imagine. Outside, the fortress remained quiet, unaware that the intruder who had slipped past all defenses had not come with weapons or threats, but with courage, wit, and the kind of resolve that only humans seem to possess. For Aaron, the mission was just beginning. He had entered without warning. The queen had been caught off guard, and in that brief, silent moment, the possibilities seemed endless. The chamber was larger than Aaron had imagined, filled with a soft violet glow that seemed to originate from the very walls. The air was not just breathable, it seemed charged, alive, as if the room itself was aware of him. Aaron stepped forward cautiously, every sense alert. His eyes never left the alien queen, seated gracefully on the elevated platform. She was a vision of both majesty and intimidation. Her body was lithe and fluid, with movements so smooth that it almost looked like she was floating rather than sitting. Her skin shimmered in faint, iridescent patterns, changing subtly with her thoughts. But what drew Aaron's attention the most were her eyes. Large, luminous, and piercing, they seemed to look not only at him but through him, as if she could see his thoughts before he even had them. Aaron knew better than to let fear take hold. Humans were not the physically strongest species in the galaxy, but their courage and quick thinking had allowed them to survive where others had failed. He straightened his back, squared his shoulders, and spoke clearly. "I am Captain Aaron Vale," he said, letting his voice carry with calm authority. "I come with no weapons, I come with no threat. I seek knowledge and perhaps understanding between our species." The Queen's eyes widened slightly. That subtle reaction was all it took for Aaron to know that she had not expected him to speak so confidently, so openly. Many species would have sent scouts, drones, or armies to confront her, yet here stood a human, alone and unarmed, in the heart of her sanctuary. She rose from her platform, her movements elegant yet purposeful. The soft violet light seemed to bend around her as she moved, giving her an almost ethereal presence. "You entered without warning," she said, her voice not spoken but transmitted directly into Aaron's mind. The sensation was strange, a mixture of words and feeling. "Why do you come?" Aaron felt the weight of her gaze, the pull of her psychic presence, but he did not shrink. Humans had long relied on mental discipline to face challenges, and he centered himself. Because humans are curious, because we learn by experience, not just by watching, and because sometimes a single choice can change the course of history. The Queen tilted her head, her shimmering patterns shifting with the thought. Curiosity, courage, boldness. Traits of your kind, rare, intriguing. Aaron stepped closer, careful to show no aggression. "I seek understanding. I wish to know why your people guard this planet so fiercely and what threats may lie ahead for both our species." For a moment there was silence. Then, in a voice that was both melodic and commanding, she asked, "And why should I trust one human alone, in my heart, with no weapons, no shields?" Aaron smiled faintly. "Because I have nothing to offer but honesty, and because humans are unpredictable. Sometimes that unpredictability is the greatest strength." The Queen considered this, her luminous eyes studying him as though seeing every moment of his past and imagining every possible future. Slowly, she gestured with a delicate hand, inviting him to approach closer. "You speak boldly. Few dare to speak in my presence. Most, they do not even survive the attempt." Aaron felt a rush of both awe and caution. He had trained for many dangerous situations, faced hostile environments, and negotiated with alien species. But never had he encountered an intelligence so powerful that a single thought could probe his mind. Yet he held his ground, remembering the human tradition of facing fear with calmness and strategy. He moved to the edge of the platform, his boots softly clicking against the alien floor. "I do not seek to conquer or harm. I seek dialogue. If we understand each other, perhaps we can avoid unnecessary conflict." The Queen's patterns shimmered, her thoughts racing through possibilities. Dialogue, cooperation, unusual. Perhaps humans are different. She leaned back slightly, still observing, still calculating. Then, almost imperceptibly, she smiled, a gesture that did not feel threatening but strangely warm. "You are fearless, or perhaps foolish. I will see which it is." Aaron felt a flicker of relief but remained alert. Fearless, perhaps, but not foolish. Humans have survived because we think, adapt, and act. Her eyes narrowed slightly, studying him with the intensity of a predator evaluating prey, but not in the traditional sense. This was more of a test, a measure of his mind and character. "You walk alone into the heart of my domain, armed only with words and courage. Few species would attempt this. What makes your kind so audacious? Aaron met her gaze steadily. Because we value understanding over destruction. Because we are willing to face danger not just for survival, but to grow stronger and wiser. We do not underestimate what we do not yet know. The queen's patterns shifted again, rippling across her skin like light reflecting off water. There was an almost imperceptible pause, a quiet that filled the chamber. Aaron realized that the queen was surprised, not by his words but by his presence, his calm, and his resolve. Her reaction spoke volumes, even without another word. Then she moved to stand fully, her full height revealed beneath the violet glow. It was intimidating, yet Aaron noticed something unexpected, a hint of curiosity, even respect. Few have approached me without fear or deception. You are different. Perhaps there is merit in your species. Aaron's heart raced, not from fear, but from recognition. This was a moment where humans could demonstrate their uniqueness, not through brute strength or advanced technology, but through mind, courage, and spirit. He took another step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. I know your species has protected this planet for centuries. I know your reach is vast, but even the strongest minds can benefit from dialogue with others. Humans may be small compared to your empire, but our potential is remarkable. For the first time, the queen seemed to study him not as an intruder, but as a subject worthy of her attention. Remarkable, unusual courage, adaptability. Her thoughts flowed into his mind not to harm but to probe understanding. Perhaps I have underestimated your kind. Aaron nodded slightly, understanding that this was his first victory, not a physical one but a test of intellect, courage, and character. He had entered alone, unarmed, and yet the queen had noticed him, respected him, and even paused to consider his words. The chamber remained silent, the violet light humming softly, as if the very walls were aware that something unprecedented was unfolding. Aaron could feel the pulse of alien energy around him, and yet he felt no fear. Humans had always faced the unknown with curiosity and resolve, and now he stood as the embodiment of that spirit. The queen finally spoke again, her voice a mixture of thought and resonance. You are bold, human, but boldness alone is not enough. To survive here, you must also think, adapt, and prove yourself. Are you ready for that test? Aaron's jaw tightened, his mind sharpening. I am ready. Humans are not just bold, we learn, we adapt, and we solve what others cannot. If there is a test, I will face it. She regarded him for a long moment. Then slowly she extended one hand. The air shimmered around it, revealing the faint outline of a challenge that was not physical but mental, a trial designed to test ingenuity, perception, and willpower. Come forward, human. Let us see if your spirit matches your words. Aaron took a careful step onto the platform, feeling the subtle pull of the alien energy beneath his feet. The chamber seemed to respond to him, shifting and changing as he moved, testing him with every step. The queen observed silently, her eyes luminous with anticipation, curiosity, and perhaps a hint of admiration. As he reached the center of the platform, Aaron realized that this moment was more than a test. It was the beginning of a new understanding between species. He was no longer just an intruder. He was a representative of humanity, standing boldly in the heart of an alien empire, demonstrating that courage, intelligence, and empathy could open doors that weapons and armies could not. The queen's patterns shifted once more, a subtle shimmer that spoke of respect. Few species would do as you have done, human. Your kind is remarkable. Let us see if your mind can match your courage. Aaron nodded, feeling a spark of determination. The challenge had begun, and the first true face-to-face encounter between humanity and the alien queen was underway. And in that quiet, violet-lit chamber, a story of courage, intellect, and the human spirit began. A story that would stretch across the stars, testing the limits of bravery, adaptability, and understanding. The violet light of the chamber pulsed softly as the alien queen observed. Captain Aaron Vale. She had studied him carefully, her mind probing, yet she could not fully predict the human's actions. There was something in his calm presence, his unwavering gaze, that fascinated her. Few beings had entered her sanctuary unarmed and unafraid. Fewer still had spoken with such clarity and courage. "You have impressed me, human," she transmitted into his mind. "Yet words alone cannot prove your worth. You must demonstrate the mind that guides them. Are you prepared for the test?" Aaron nodded. "I am." Humans learn through challenge. We adapt. We find solutions when others fail. The queen's patterns shimmered across her skin, and with a gesture of her hand, the chamber seemed to dissolve. The walls stretched and shifted, transforming into a new space, a labyrinth of light and shadow. Paths appeared and disappeared, doors opening into empty corridors and then vanishing. It was not just a physical maze, it pulsed as if it responded to his thoughts. This was the Queen's trial, a test of intellect, perception, and adaptability. Aaron stepped forward carefully. Every movement had to be deliberate. He scanned the maze, noting the subtle shifts in light, the faint hum of energy along certain walls, and the way the air itself seemed to bend with possibility. Each path seemed to challenge his assumptions, as if the labyrinth were alive and observing his choices. He began to move, testing one corridor, then another, noticing how each responded to his presence. A corridor that appeared stable would suddenly twist into a dead end. Another path shimmered with faint markings that hinted at a hidden exit. He realized quickly that brute force would not succeed here. Only observation, pattern recognition, and creative thinking would allow him to advance. Hours passed, or perhaps only minutes. The labyrinth made it difficult to judge time. Aaron relied on his training and his human intuition. He remembered lessons from explorers of the past. Every system has a rhythm. Every puzzle has a logic. He listened to the soft hums, watched the light pulses, and sensed the subtle changes in the walls. Slowly, he began to understand the language of the maze. A sudden shift startled him. The floor beneath his feet rippled like liquid, forming a circular platform suspended above an endless void. At the center, a glowing sphere floated, casting intricate patterns of light across the walls. Aaron knew instinctively that this was not just a visual obstacle. It was a puzzle, designed to test his reasoning and adaptability. He approached the sphere carefully. As he touched it, the patterns projected visions, scenes of different worlds, strange creatures, and scenarios that seemed impossible to reconcile. But Aaron forced himself to remain calm. He realized that the key was not to fight the visions, but to understand them, to find connections, and to predict the sequence of patterns. Slowly, he traced the logic of the sphere. Each vision was linked to another in a sequence, forming a chain of cause and effect. By recognizing the pattern, he was able to manipulate the sphere, aligning the light projections until a door materialized ahead. Aaron exhaled quietly, stepping through the opening. The corridor beyond was narrower, the walls pulsating with a more intense light. The Queen's presence felt stronger here, as if she were testing not just his intellect but his emotional resilience. Few survived the second stage of the labyrinth. Her thoughts echoed in his mind. Most falter when confronted with their own uncertainty. Aaron reminded himself of a simple human truth. Courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. He pressed on, each step measured, each decision carefully weighed. He noticed subtle hints in the environment, a faint reflection, a shift in color, that guided him through invisible traps. His human intuition, combined with careful observation, allowed him to navigate where many other species would fail. At one point, the maze presented him with a choice: two identical doors, each marked with a glowing symbol. One led forward, the other, a dead end that would force him back into the twisting corridors. The symbols seemed alien, meaningless at first. But Aaron noticed a pattern. The glyphs, faint flicker synchronized with his own heartbeat when he focused. Trusting his instincts, he chose the left door. It opened smoothly, confirming that humans could succeed by observing patterns others overlooked. As he moved deeper, the maze itself seemed to react to his confidence. Walls became less rigid, light shifted to guide him subtly, and the corridors opened into a large chamber filled with floating platforms. The platforms hovered above a swirling void of energy, each moving in a rhythm that required precise timing to cross. Aaron studied the motion, calculating the intervals, predicting the paths, and stepping with careful precision. One false move could plunge him into the void, or so it seemed. The human mind had a unique ability to adapt to dynamic challenges, and Aaron used it to his advantage. Each jump, each step, each calculated pause demonstrated the combination of courage and intelligence that made humans remarkable. Halfway across, a sudden shift occurred. A platform vanished beneath his foot, forcing him to leap further than he expected. In that instant, the Queen's presence pressed into his mind, testing his reflexes and mental focus simultaneously. Aaron felt the challenge, not as a threat, but as a puzzle to solve. He extended his hand, landing safely on the next platform. The chamber grew quiet, the void of energy calm for a moment. Aaron realized he had reached the final section of the trial, a central platform, floating above the swirling abyss, with a holographic representation of the Queen at its center. The image spoke without sound, presenting a series of complex scenarios, alien strategies, interstellar conflicts, and puzzles of resource management that would challenge the mind of any species. Aaron studied each scenario carefully. He analyzed the patterns, predicted outcomes, and proposed solutions silently in his mind. He noticed subtle hints in the holographic projections, small fluctuations that indicated which choices would lead to success. His ability to synthesize information quickly, a hallmark of human intelligence, allowed him to navigate the challenge efficiently. Hours, or again, perhaps only minutes, passed in focused concentration. Finally, the holographic projections aligned, forming a coherent picture of success. A door materialized on the far side of the chamber, glowing with soft light. Aaron stepped forward, feeling the satisfaction of completing a challenge that many species would have found insurmountable. The labyrinth dissolved around him, returning him to the violet-lit chamber where the Queen awaited. Her patterns shimmered in a way that suggested both curiosity and approval. "You have succeeded, human. Few have demonstrated such adaptability and intelligence. Your species is remarkable indeed." Aaron nodded, trying to hide his exhaustion. The maze was challenging. But humans thrive on challenges. We do not back down when the path is difficult. The Queen observed him for a long moment, her eyes reflecting a depth of thought that Aaron could hardly comprehend. "You have proven your mind and your courage." Yet the trial was not only about intellect. It was about perception, adaptability, and the ability to act under uncertainty. You have succeeded where others would have failed. Aaron felt a surge of pride, not in himself alone, but in the species he represented. Humans were often underestimated by more advanced civilizations, but moments like this reminded him, and would one day remind the galaxy, of what humans could achieve through courage, ingenuity, and determination. "Thank you," he said quietly. "But I could not have done it without understanding the rhythm of your trial. Every puzzle has a logic, every challenge has a key. Humans learn to see what others overlook." The Queen tilted her head, her patterns shifting with interest. "Indeed, you see what others miss. You act when others hesitate. You survive when others falter. Perhaps there is more to your kind than I realized." Aaron felt the weight of her words. This was more than praise, it was recognition. In the eyes of one of the most intelligent species in the galaxy, humanity had begun to prove its worth. He had not only faced a physical and mental trial but had also demonstrated the human spirit, resilient, curious, and endlessly adaptive. The queen rose from her seat, stepping closer. The air between them pulsed with energy, not threatening but alive with possibility. You have passed the test of intellect and courage, Captain Vale. Yet there is more to learn, more to explore. Your mind is sharp, your spirit strong. We shall see if your character matches your skill. Aaron bowed his head slightly, acknowledging the weight of her words. I am ready for whatever comes next. Humans grow stronger through every challenge, and I intend to learn all I can. The queen's eyes shimmered once more, a faint smile forming. Then we shall continue, human. The galaxy is wide, the threats are many, and understanding is only the beginning. Your trial has proven your worth, but the true challenge lies ahead. And with that, the chamber faded again, leaving Aaron standing in a new space. A space that hinted at even greater challenges, greater puzzles, and the possibility of forging a connection that could change the course of history. For the first time, he felt that he was not just surviving a trial. He was earning trust, building understanding, and demonstrating the remarkable nature of humanity in the face of the unknown. The violet light of the chamber dimmed slightly as the alien queen studied Captain Aaron Vale. She had watched him navigate the labyrinth, demonstrating intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Few beings in the galaxy had ever impressed her like this human. His actions had proven not only skill but also a rare quality, the ability to act under pressure without fear or malice. You have succeeded, human, she projected into his mind, her voice calm yet resonant. Few would have endured the labyrinth and emerged unscathed. Few would have understood its patterns so quickly. You are remarkable. Aaron bowed his head slightly, acknowledging the praise. Thank you, but I did not come here for praise. I came to understand and to find a way for our species to coexist without conflict. The queen's patterns shimmered in a display of curiosity and interest. Coexistence, unusual for humans to consider diplomacy when they could fight. Perhaps there is merit in your approach. She gestured toward a large circular platform that slowly rose from the chamber floor. Aaron followed the movement, stepping onto the platform as it carried them upward, revealing a broader view of the fortress and its surrounding lands. From this vantage point, Aaron could see the sprawling alien city beyond the fortress walls. Sleek towers of crystal and metal stretched toward the twin suns, while networks of energy lines crisscrossed the streets, carrying light and information to every corner. The city was alive, vibrant, and orderly, yet beneath the surface there was tension. Aaron could sense it, not fully, but enough to understand that all was not well in this alien empire. You see what lies beyond my sanctuary, the queen said, her thoughts flowing into his mind. Much of this empire is devoted to stability, yet there are forces within it that threaten that balance. Rogue factions seek to expand power at the cost of others, and they are growing bold. Aaron nodded. I have heard reports. Humanity has monitored these factions from afar. They are dangerous, not just to your people but to neighboring systems as well. They could cause conflict across multiple star systems if left unchecked. The queen's gaze lingered on him, a hint of admiration in her patterns. You understand the stakes. Most species would seek to exploit or flee. You offer insight instead. Tell me, human, what would you propose? Aaron thought carefully. We could work together. Humans have technology, adaptability, and strategies that might complement your empire's strengths. If we combine our efforts, we could prevent the rogue factions from destabilizing the region and protect both our species. For a moment, there was silence. Then the queen's eyes widened slightly, her patterns shimmering with approval. An alliance unexpected, yet logical. Your species is different. Perhaps unpredictability is not a weakness but a strength. She extended a hand, and the platform descended toward a smaller chamber overlooking the city's central energy hub. The room was filled with holographic projections of star systems, fleet movements, and intelligence networks. Aaron's eyes widened as he took in the scale of the operations. This was not just a fortress, it was a command center capable of monitoring and influencing events across multiple star systems. "Observe," the Queen said. "These are the movements of the rogue factions. They plan to acquire technology that could disrupt entire planetary systems. Their actions will not only destabilize my empire, but also threaten your species and others nearby." Aaron leaned forward, studying the projections. He recognized patterns in fleet movements and supply lines that suggested human strategies could be effective. "If we coordinate, we can predict their moves, anticipate their attacks, and neutralize them before they escalate. We can combine your empire's resources with human adaptability and quick response tactics." The Queen's patterns shifted again, a subtle display of thought. "Your ideas are practical, yet most species lack the courage to follow through. Humans, you act. Perhaps this is why your kind survives." Aaron met her gaze steadily. "We act because survival is not enough. Humans strive for understanding and cooperation. That is what makes us strong." The Queen tilted her head, considering his words. "Very well, human. We shall attempt this alliance. But understand this, trust is earned. One misstep and our cooperation could fail. You must demonstrate not only intelligence but also reliability." Aaron nodded. "I understand. Humans value trust and we honor agreements that are fair. I will not fail." The Queen gestured to a series of holographic displays showing the locations of the rogue factions' bases. "You will lead a small contingent to infiltrate one of their key operations. Your objective is not to destroy, but to gather intelligence. We must know their plans before taking further action." Aaron studied the projections carefully. The facility was heavily guarded, with energy shields, drones, and alien security forces. A frontal assault would be suicidal, but that was never the point. Humans thrived where brute force was impossible. They used creativity, stealth, and adaptability to succeed. He turned to the Queen. "I can infiltrate their base without alerting them. We can learn their plans and movements, then decide how best to prevent their attacks. It will require precision and careful planning, but it is possible." The Queen's patterns shimmered again, this time with a hint of anticipation. "I will provide support, but the execution is yours. Humans, you are fascinating. I will observe your methods closely." Aaron nodded. "Thank you. Together, we can prevent unnecessary conflict. We can protect countless lives." The Queen's gaze softened slightly. "You speak of protection, of understanding. Few beings prioritize others over themselves. Perhaps this is why your kind is remarkable." For the next several hours, Aaron and the Queen worked together. He studied the holographic maps, identifying weak points in the rogue faction's defenses. He proposed alternative strategies, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. The Queen contributed insights from her intelligence network, highlighting movements and alliances that humans would not have detected alone. By the end of the planning session, they had devised a strategy that was precise, elegant, and highly effective. It relied on coordination, observation, and timing rather than brute force, a testament to the strengths of both species. Aaron felt a surge of pride. Humanity was not just surviving among the stars. They were capable of shaping events in collaboration with even the most advanced civilizations. As the session concluded, the Queen studied him closely. "You have demonstrated intelligence, courage, and cooperation. Few beings can claim all three in equal measure. Perhaps this alliance will endure." Aaron bowed his head slightly. "I will do everything I can to make it succeed. Humans learn quickly and we adapt. Together, we can prevent the chaos that the rogue factions intend to create." The Queen's patterns shifted in a subtle display of approval. "We shall see, human. The galaxy is wide and challenges are many, but you have proven that your mind and spirit are worthy. Let us hope that others of your kind continue to rise to such challenges." For the first time, Aaron felt a real sense of connection, not just as a representative of humanity, but as a partner in a mission that could shape the future of countless worlds. The Queen's initial surprise at his presence had evolved into something more profound: respect and cautious trust. The chamber grew quiet, the violet light softening as the Queen retreated to her elevated platform. Aaron remained on the lower level, reflecting on the journey so far. He had entered unarmed, faced the Queen's challenge, and now, through intellect and courage, had begun to forge an unprecedented alliance. Outside the chamber, the city of Zithra continued its rhythmic pulse. Energy flowed through the streets, information moved along glowing channels, and the inhabitants carried on their routines, unaware of the quiet drama unfolding within the Queen's sanctuary. Aaron, however, knew that this was only the beginning. The rogue faction still posed a threat, and the real challenge lay ahead: executing their plan, preventing conflict, and proving that humans and aliens could work together. He took a deep breath, centering himself. One step at a time, he thought. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans never give up. As he prepared to depart for the first mission against the rogue factions, Aaron felt a quiet confidence. The Queen's respect was earned, the alliance established, and the path forward clear, but dangerous. He would rely on every skill he had, every lesson humanity had learned, and every ounce of courage he possessed. The first stage of their collaboration was a success. They had proven that dialogue, intelligence, and strategy could open doors that brute force could not. The rogue factions had not yet realized the threat approaching them, and that advantage would be critical. As the violet light dimmed completely and the chamber returned to its normal state, Aaron looked once more at the Queen. She regarded him with a calm intensity that spoke volumes. "We will succeed together. Perhaps humanity is not what I expected. Perhaps it is more." And with that, Aaron left the chamber, stepping into the unknown corridors of Zithra with purpose and determination. He was no longer just an intruder or observer. He was a key player in a partnership that could change the fate of the galaxy. The next stage of the mission awaited him, one that would test his ingenuity, his courage, and his ability to lead others. But for now, he allowed himself a brief moment of quiet satisfaction. Humans had proven that even against the most powerful and intelligent alien species, they could not only survive, they could collaborate, strategize, and inspire trust. The alliance was fragile, the galaxy vast, and the challenges immense. But for the first time, Aaron felt certain that humans had the potential to leave a mark on the stars that would not be forgotten. Captain Aaron Vale stood on the observation deck of the Queen's fortress, gazing out at the sprawling city of Zithra and the distant reaches of the rogue faction's territory. The violet light of the fortress reflected faintly on his visor, casting a calm glow over his face. The city below hummed with energy, alive and vibrant, yet he knew that danger loomed beyond its walls. The rogue factions were not idle. They had grown bold, and their plans threatened countless worlds across the sector. The alien Queen stood beside him, her form graceful and imposing, her luminous eyes focused on the holographic projections floating in the air. "The factions are moving quickly," she said, her voice transmitted directly into his mind. "Their next strike will target critical energy hubs. You must lead the first mission to intercept them." Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "We've planned this carefully. By combining your technology with human strategies, we can outmaneuver them. Timing will be crucial." The Queen's patterns shimmered with approval. "Humans are adaptable. You understand the stakes. I will provide support, but the execution is yours. Lead wisely, Captain Vale." Aaron gathered his small human contingent, each member trained in stealth, intelligence gathering, and tactical operations. They were humans at their best, quick-thinking, resilient, and fearless. He briefed them calmly, ensuring everyone understood their roles and the importance of cooperation with the Queen's forces. "Remember," he said, looking at each of them. "We are not here to destroy. Our goal is to stop the rogue factions, gather intelligence, and protect lives. Trust your instincts, trust each other, and trust the plan." The team moved swiftly, boarding sleek alien transport crafts that hummed with energy. The ships were a fusion of human technology and Zitharan design, optimized for stealth and speed. As they left the fortress and slipped into the dark expanse of space, Aaron felt a familiar rush of anticipation. This was humanity at its finest, daring, resourceful, and ready to face the unknown. The journey to the rogue faction's territory was tense. The ships moved silently, invisible to conventional sensors. Aaron guided his team, analyzing every data stream, predicting patrol patterns, and calculating the safest approach. Humans were not the largest species in the galaxy, but they had a unique ability to adapt, improvise, and think in ways others could not. That adaptability would be their greatest advantage. Finally, they arrived near the faction's base, a massive structure orbiting a barren planet, bristling with defensive drones, energy shields, and weapon arrays. Aaron studied the layout, tracing paths that would allow them to infiltrate without detection. "We move in pairs," he instructed. "Stealth first, observe everything, avoid unnecessary engagement. We take only what we need to understand their plans." The team advanced, slipping past patrols and evading sensors with precision. Aaron felt the tension rise with every step, yet his mind remained sharp. Every choice mattered. Every movement could mean the difference between success and failure. But he trusted in human ingenuity and in the careful planning that had guided them here. Inside the base, they encountered the first real obstacle, a central control hub guarded by advanced drones. The room pulsed with energy as the drones scanned for intruders. Aaron studied their movement patterns, timing the team's advance with careful precision. Humans had long excelled in improvisation, and here, their ability to adapt in real time allowed them to navigate the room without triggering alarms. At the heart of the hub, they accessed the data core, streaming information about the rogue faction's plans. Aaron's eyes scanned the projections rapidly, troop movements, energy weapon targets, and supply lines. The factions intended to destabilize multiple systems simultaneously, creating chaos that would benefit only themselves. He felt a surge of determination. Humanity and the Zitharan Empire could not allow this to happen. As the team worked, a sudden alert triggered. Sensors had detected a minor disturbance, one that could escalate into a full-scale alarm. Aaron acted instantly, coordinating the team and using both human ingenuity and Zitharan technology to contain the alert. The base's defenses flared briefly, but they held, giving the humans time to complete their mission. Once the data was secured, Aaron led the team out, retracing their steps carefully. Outside, their transport crafts awaited. As they lifted off, he glanced at the rogue base below. The mission had succeeded without direct conflict, demonstrating that intelligence, planning, and adaptability could triumph over sheer force. Returning to Zithra, the team delivered the critical intelligence to the Queen. She studied the data, her patterns shifting with interest. "You have performed admirably, human. Your species has demonstrated not only courage but also strategy. Few could achieve such precision under pressure." Aaron smiled faintly. "It was not just humans," he said. "It was a combination, your technology, our tactics, and the willingness to adapt. Together, we can prevent the rogue factions from causing widespread harm." The Queen nodded. "Indeed, collaboration, understanding, and courage, these are your strengths. You have proven that humans are worthy allies, perhaps even essential." The next stage of their plan was more ambitious. With the intelligence they had gathered, Aaron and the Queen coordinated a multi-pronged strike. They used deception, diversion, and precise timing to intercept the rogue factions, forces before they could mobilize fully. Human creativity combined with Zitharan technology allowed them to disable key weapons and communications without unnecessary destruction. During the operation, Aaron witnessed the remarkable adaptability of his team. Humans responded instantly to unexpected challenges, improvising solutions that advanced their mission while preserving lives. Drones were redirected, energy shields manipulated, and paths recalculated, all in real time. Every human instinct, honed over centuries of exploration and survival, came into play. The rogue faction's leaders realized too late that they had been outmaneuvered. Their forces were immobilized, their weapons neutralized, and their plans exposed. Aaron and the Queen's forces did not destroy them, but they demonstrated overwhelming coordination and precision. The rogue factions had no choice but to surrender or retreat. As the final surrender was secured, Aaron allowed himself a brief moment to reflect. Humans had once again proven that their greatest weapon was not strength or numbers, but courage, intelligence, and adaptability. They had faced an enemy that relied on power and intimidation, yet they had succeeded through ingenuity and collaboration. The Queen observed the outcome silently, her luminous patterns softening. "You have exceeded expectations, Captain Vale. Your species has demonstrated remarkable resilience, strategy, and courage. Humans are indeed extraordinary." Aaron felt a surge of pride, not in himself alone, but in what humanity represented. Humans had faced the unknown countless times across the stars, relying on intellect, creativity, and a refusal to surrender. This mission had been another testament to that spirit. Returning to Zithra, Aaron met with the Queen in her sanctuary. The chamber glowed softly, reflecting the calm after the storm. She regarded him with a level of respect that went beyond mere observation. "Your actions today will be remembered. You have not only prevented chaos but have demonstrated that trust, collaboration, and courage can achieve what brute force cannot." Aaron bowed slightly. "It was an honor to work with you." Humans learn quickly, adapt even faster, and value alliances built on trust and understanding. Together, we can protect countless worlds. The Queen's eyes shimmered. "Indeed, perhaps the galaxy has underestimated your kind. Your species is capable of far more than I anticipated. Let us hope that this alliance endures, and that humans continue to rise to such challenges." In that moment, Aaron realized something profound. Humanity was small in comparison to the vast civilizations of the galaxy, yet their unique qualities, their courage, intelligence, and adaptability, made them a force to be reckoned with. Humans were not merely survivors. They were innovators, leaders, and collaborators capable of shaping the future across the stars. The mission was complete, but the story was far from over. The alliance between humanity and the Zitharan Empire had been forged in action, trust, and shared purpose. Together, they had prevented disaster and demonstrated that cooperation, strategy, and courage could overcome even the most dangerous threats. As Aaron looked out over the city of Zithra, he felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. The rogue factions had been neutralized, countless lives saved, and humanity's reputation strengthened. Yet he knew that challenges would continue to arise, for the galaxy was vast, and the unknown waited in every corner. But for now, humans had proven once again that they were extraordinary, not because of weapons or power, but because of their spirit. Courage, intelligence, and the ability to act when others hesitated had won the day. The alien queen regarded him silently, her patterns reflecting both approval and a hint of admiration. "You have shown that humans are capable of greatness. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter, one where cooperation and understanding guide the course of history." Aaron nodded. "It will be, for humanity and for all who seek to protect the galaxy." And as the twin suns of Zithra bathed the city in golden light, Captain Aaron Vale felt the full weight of what they had achieved. The rogue factions were defeated, the alliance solidified, and the remarkable qualities of humanity had been proven once more. Courage, adaptability, intelligence, and trust, these were the tools that had triumphed. Humans were not just survivors. They were heroes in their own right, capable of shaping the galaxy through ingenuity, collaboration, and unyielding spirit. And for the first time in the heart of an alien empire, that truth had been acknowledged and respected. The stars awaited, full of challenges and mysteries, but Aaron knew one thing for certain. Humanity would continue to rise, adapt, and inspire wherever they went. And together with allies like the Alien Queen, they could face any threat, overcome any obstacle, and leave a legacy that would echo across the galaxy. The mission was over, but the journey, the story of courage, intelligence, and the human spirit was only beginning.